me and you like cooking together, doing lots of kind of more elaborate recipes and things that you can spend hours in the kitchen doing.
Yeah, like fish donuts, which didn't go very well.
Doesn't always work out.
Hello and welcome to Off Script. Today we're going to talk about the beauty of side projects.
Okay, so I think one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot at the moment is just that sort of importance of side projects and how when you've got really busy time at work, having that sort of side projects, whether it's like during work hours or, you know, after hours, having something to focus on that can give you that sort of creative outlet that normally you probably wouldn't get in your day-to-day work. Yeah,
I think it's really important because you can make a lot of progress on a side project where you might be feeling frustrated with lengthy approvals, or maybe it's quite tricky to collaborate on the thing that you're trying to get done, especially in leadership position, because it's not you doing the things often.
Yes, no.
So it can be quite frustrating. So to be able to go and just do a thing, plan it, actually execute it, get it done.
Yeah.
Ship it. Ship that food.
Yeah.
It's quite satisfying, isn't it?
I think so. You mentioned, we're both working businesses that have grown quite substantially from those early days where you can be kind of scrappy startup or agency mode where you can, as you said, just kind of get shit done. But yeah, obviously now there is a lot more to consider. There's regulations, there's compliance, there's legal considerations.
Yeah.
Your risk appetite is lower, and in general, you can't just kind of wing things as easy as it was before.
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't appreciate you diving in and doing stuff that's part of their role either as much as they do a scrappy 5-10 person company.
Everyone's like, leave me alone, get out of the way.
That was my bit.
Yeah.
But I find cooking quite therapeutic, but we were talking briefly about I've got some little coding side projects.
Yeah.
So I did a few over Christmas. One of my things that I wanted to do is learn Bun, not on a client project.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And did a little post about that. But I was making a Redis server from scratch. Mm-hmm. So you would never do that. That was completely rubbish idea. Yeah. But in terms of learning, it's nice because you get to figure out how the socket level protocol works.
Yeah.
How it all ties together, how you can test it. It's quite satisfying because you can get pretty far quite quickly. And then I managed to hook up Table Plus and put like a little logging thing in the middle and just implement just enough for the UI and Table Plus to work, which is nice. Completely pointless. And then it made it even more pointless by mounting it as a virtual file system as well. So you could open each key as a file and then inside is the value.
That bit was a bit batshit for me.
Yeah, it was a bit strange.
Yeah, but I would argue nothing is completely pointless, and I think the thing that excites me about side projects is there's always stuff that you'll take back into your sort of day-to-day job. So your exploration of Bun and the ecosystem around it and how it could be useful in projects using a Parallax, I think is super useful.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess we can segue from Bun to cooking.
Like we did there.
Thanks. Cheers. I've been working on that in my head. But yeah, you did a stage, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah. So we've been cooking together for a long time. Me and you like cooking together, doing lots of kind of more elaborate recipes and things that you can spend hours in the kitchen doing.
Yeah, like fish donuts, which didn't go very well.
Doesn't always work out. Some ideas should firmly stay in your head.
Yes.
Because you think you have the skill set of Heston Blumenthal and you absolutely don't.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Oh, we did pivot that one into a seaside donut, which is actually on the menu somewhere we're going today. So.
That did work, yeah. So not everything's a terrible idea. But yeah, so we started doing kind of little pop-ups and kind of people paying us to cook food for them over the last, 5 years.
Yeah, and we had to do our food safety course and learn the colours of the shopping boards, which I've definitely remembered.
I was going to say, absolutely.
It was really good fun and quite terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of similarities between cooking and kind of software engineering, and I don't think this is a forced kind of relationship, because ultimately, when you get to a kind of a higher level of cooking, which I am absolutely not at, but when you see chefs that are doing that, You see the same characteristics, like the obsessiveness over the details and, the sort of level of investment in those skill sets that just takes a very long time to master.
Obsessive planning and prep. Prep is everything, isn't it?
Everything, yeah. So as you mentioned earlier, I thought I'd kind of take myself even further out of my comfort zone. I did something called a stage, which is essentially an internship in a professional kitchen.
I'm so impressed that you managed to do it, 'cause you were originally going to go to Man Behind the Curtain, but that didn't quite work out.
No.
But actually, I think that this is even better because, the things that you've been learning and like it. I would be absolutely terrified. I'd never be able to do what you did because, I mean, the level they're at is ridiculous.
It's insane. Like we've eaten together and separately at the Black Swan many times. It's a really lovely Michelin star restaurant in Oldstead, if you've never been, just outside of York. And the head chef there is a lovely chap called Callum, who was just so welcoming. Callum Leslie's his name. He's just so welcoming. When I got in touch, and I was like, I am not a professional chef. Can you let me come and see what you do for the day?
That is ace. And what was the first thing you ended up doing? You put your apron on and then...
Yeah, he kind of shows you around the kitchen and the whole restaurant, actually. And he's like, here's the things that you need. Here are the aprons. Here's the stuff that'll kill you. Try not to kill yourself.
Yeah.
The usual stuff. And then it's a really tough day, and they do this day in, day out. So I got there at about 10 o'clock. I think they start at 9, and they finished the shift at about 10 or 11 at night. So
that's a long stint, day. And you're on your legs all day.
All day. So we prepped from when I got there until about 4, broke for half an hour for staff dinner, and then back on it for service. So
nice. What was the staff dinner like?
Oh my God. Like... They're just, I think it's a bit of a flex for them, actually.
Yeah.
Because they're kind of like, we just whipped this up. It was this amazing sort of gochujang noodle dish.
Wow, man.
I think he used some leftover duck from some of the like previous nights that they couldn't reuse. And it was just, honestly, the tastiest bowl of food.
You must, you don't end up using all the delicious ingredients, they must just be eyeing it up thinking, staff dinner.
Yeah, I'm going to have that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's another scallop gone to waste.
Oh, this end bit. Yeah. Cut that off. Yeah. No one will want that.
But it's nice because there's a real team ethic. There's a real camaraderie. At the end of the like staff dinner, everyone says thanks for staff, and like, there's just a really good atmosphere, and there's a good level of banter, as you'd expect. But when it comes to service, there's a real serious tone to, we're really fucking good at what we do, and this needs to be spot on.
Yeah. So everyone's looking out for each other in terms of making sure the quality is right. And, stepping in and helping or nudging as needed.
Yeah. Even with the prep, if a certain area of the prep's behind, they'll all kind of club together to get it up to speed, and really cool.
And it's super important to keep your area completely clean, isn't it? Like after everything that you do.
Yeah, like even just the work ethic around cleanliness, everything has its place. It's just a really well-oiled machine, and it's quite interesting seeing. So Callum, I think mostly gone are the days of really shouty kitchens where it's that super macho bullshit attitude.
Yeah, I think that's gone, hasn't it?
Yeah.
In most places.
Yeah, so Callum is just like quite calm the way he runs the kitchen, but ultimately people know if he's asking for something, it needs to get done.
Yeah.
I kind of like that air of respect for, because there is a hierarchy in the kitchen. I know a lot of tech companies these days champion a lack of hierarchy.
Yeah.
Everyone's equal and we all work together as a team to get stuff done, which has its pros, but also sometimes you need a leader that's like, just fucking do this.
Yeah, definitely. I guess there's going to be in the professional kitchen a mix between sort of the functional day-to-day, like getting the dishes out, and I guess they'll have a more, because they have the sort of seasons, don't they? So they'll have a break and then they'll do more experimental stuff, which would be more like your R&D hack day sort of.
Yeah. Which is, again, a good parallel, that like that sort of experimentation is essentially a hack day.
Yeah. You want to just try lots of things, see what works, see if you like fish donuts, you don't, and then go again.
No one does it, turns out. Yeah. What I loved is, so I started on the whole sort of mise en place process, which is most of your day prepping Sometimes you'll be prepping stuff for that night's service. Sometimes you'll be prepping for the next day.
Yeah.
So most like stocks and sauces take like long time to make.
Yeah.
So some of them are kind of made for the day ahead. But yeah, so
lots of labeling.
So much.
Oh, I'd love that. I love a label printer.
You would love it, honestly. Just really vac packing as well, really well.
Nice. I'd never seen someone vac pack stuff as much as you do.
I'm obsessed with it. Everything should be vac packed at some point, I feel, and labeled, as you agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think for me it's that level of obsession and pride in what they're doing. So I was chatting to one of the chefs called Hannah, and she was telling me about how they'd spent a long time figuring out how to prepare this mallard. So they have this really nice duck produce from R&J, which is a nice Yorkshire supplier.
Nice.
And she was telling me how they'd figured out how the process to get the duck as good as it could be. So they'd blow torch it, they'd dip it in like vinegared water to make the skin tighten up, and then they'd like cook it a few times in a different way, like on the barbecue, then in the oven. Exact timings, exact temperatures.
Amazing.
And at the end, it's just like, I was eating it, and she's like, you see why we've done all those steps? It's like this, and this. And I was like, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
Yeah.
And I think that obsession and pride and focus, it just really helps. It just gives you a sense of achievement, and it can help you take your mind off something stressful, or like...
You can't focus on anything else, right?
Yeah. It's that state of flow that you get when you finally get a good few hours coding, and you're just going and coding and doing the thing.
Yeah.
And you just look up and 3 hours has gone in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So maybe that long shift doesn't feel quite as long as it actually is.
No, I mean, you're definitely knackered when it's over, but I certainly, it's a really good comparison. I do certainly think that sort of service state is your flow state when you're coding. Like everyone's in the rhythm of it. Everyone knows what's expected of them. Yeah, really cool. Like, there was one thing where Hannah was using a Japanese mandolin, just with like what part of that, your hand's that called? Like the butts of your thumb?
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, she wasn't even looking at the mandolin. She was just like doing it.
Oh God.
And I was like, this is pure fear. She's like, and now do you want to do it? I was like, I won't be doing that.
I always use the guard because I'm an idiot.
Yeah. But like just the sort of like confidence in like your ability.
Oh yeah.
Just,
if you've done it a million times,
yeah,
you're not going to cut yourself. Yeah, definitely.
Even Callum was like, I think it's good you don't do that either. I think you're right.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to people that want to sort of do something outside of work? What kind of things could they do to get started?
I guess the thing is optimize for that sort of, not necessarily flow state, but like that sort of like creative outlet. As you said, it's cooking for us is a way for you to have to focus on a single thing to try and achieve a task.
Yeah.
And I think those sort of side projects that allow you to become immersed in something the most satisfying and gratifying.
Yeah, definitely. And being able to get done on something is really important for me, because you often don't get that at work as I do, have a lot of meetings, and they don't really seem to have any end or
just
outcome
until you die.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, especially like on the more commercial side, because you're just trying to like get stuff through the funnel and like think about interesting new tech, and then you don't actually end up seeing it through. You hand it over to someone else, and that's quite painful.
Yeah.
Like, I've got this really exciting thing that we could do. Like, here you go.
Yeah, you enjoy that.
I really wish I was doing that bit.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like you can take complete ownership of something end to end.
Yeah.
When you work in a bigger company or even just a smaller team, it's hard, but you can't be like, I have a really strong opinion on this bit, but I need to let you own that, and that's really hard.
Yeah, definitely. They're very different, aren't they? And yeah, because you are your own boss on a side project, it's just, as long as you can try and block out the time. I realise that's not viable for some people, but you can even find, because I started with getting back into using Logic, and I just set myself a goal of 10 minutes a day, even if it's just opening Logic and then being confused, clicking around for a bit and closing it again. It's sometimes that would happen, and then sometimes you're 2 hours in, and you just like really getting into playing around with it. So
you've got the added benefit of your dad helping to tutor this as well.
Yeah,
your dad's an absolute musical legend.
He is. He's been around a bit, but he's been teaching me synthesizer stuff. So he's got modular synths at home.
Yeah,
I've been trying to recreate those in soft synths, and
amazing.
It's been really nice. So we do a weekly Zoom call where we just try and recreate a track, and it's quite nice.
That's so cool though, 'cause you're getting a few things ticked at once there. You're getting kind of that relationship with your dad, and then you're also getting that sort of musical fun.
Yeah, well, the thing about me and my dad is that we have a good relationship, but it's like typical bloke thing, like like we need to do something in order to interact with each other.
Yeah, no eye contact.
Yeah, that's it. It's like, look, I never saw him loads when I was growing up because he was always out gigging and stuff, and then it's nice to sort of rekindle that relationship, and it's a nice man thing to organise activity in order to
wires and synths and stuff.
Let's go look at some wires, and then we don't have to talk about our feelings.
But ultimately you'll end up talking about your feelings through wires.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I think the kind of takeaway for this is just try and actually create some space to take on some of those side projects. It doesn't have to be technical. I was chatting to someone at work who has an art studio. She's actually an amazing artist as well, but she does art in her spare time. And I think that's also just that same thing, that creative outlet, something that's completely different to your day job.
Yeah, it's just really nice, isn't it? Yeah. I never really got into arty stuff because I'm really crap at drawing, but I can see that being really therapeutic.
Oh yeah, if you could do it, I could see how you'd like look at the end kind of product and be like, that's great, I'm happy with that.
The problem I've got is I need to be at least somewhat good at it, otherwise I'll just give it up.
Yeah, same.
And then I'm going to try to learn skiing, but I've got a feeling this is one of those things that I'm not going to be good at.
I think you'll be good at it.
I don't know. I fell over this week, so
that's the rite of passage for skiing. I think you'd be okay.
Yeah,
I have faith. But yeah, I think just put yourself out there. Just go and ask people. If you want to go and learn more about something, go to someone who does that and speak to them about it.
Do you think having a successful side project then helps your work day the next day?
I think it certainly helps my mood and my mindset for work, because sometimes if you're working on bigger projects, you're not going to have a win every day. Sometimes it'll be slow and it'll be frustrating, and I think getting that satisfaction of completion, or actually just satisfaction of learning something somewhere else, is quite important. Yeah, I think it's also really helped my personal life as well, just in terms of me feeling like I'm getting something that I need. Because it's quite easy to get stuck into a rut and just kind of finish work, sit on the sofa and do nothing.
Because I think everybody needs a little bit of different areas of their lives, don't they?
Yeah.
Just attending. So there's an interesting book called One Thing, and it tries to take you through different areas of your life. So like physical, personal, sort of key relationships, your job, your business, personal finances, all these different areas. And you kind of need to tickle them all, but at different points, and you need to know when to switch from one thing to the other. So I don't think there is such thing as a work-life balance. I think you have to go and attend to the thing that needs the most attention.
Yeah.
And if that is, let's say this week it is physical and your back's knackered like mine is at the moment.
Yeah.
So I need to get booked in and do some stretches, get on the mat, and I need to make time for that over everything else. Yeah,
I think that prioritization is really important, because work is always going to be demanding, especially if you're in sort of leadership positions or positions where people rely on you for a lot of input or direction. I'm sure they'd like to not rely on you at all, to be honest. But I do think having that prioritization of your health or these side projects that give you that satisfaction is super important.
Yeah, definitely. Well, what this book talks about is setting one priority for each of those areas and working on that until it's done. And I think the analogy it used is if you chase two rabbits, you catch neither. And it's just like you can have all these different areas of your life that you need to attend, but if you try and just have one focus area in each, then you're going to do a lot better at being able to switch between them.
That's great.
So you can go, well, my exercise stuff is, I know that I'm going to do something on a Tuesday, a Thursday and a Saturday, and that's non-negotiable. Just do it.
Yeah.
And it's fine if you miss the odd one. But I think the key is consistency, isn't it? Like,
streaks, isn't it? Really, if you think about it, yeah.
So with the logic thing, it's like 10 minutes a day. With your cooking, it's 3-4 times a week, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like you have to have consistency because it can't just be a one-off event.
Yeah.
Because you are what you do regularly. You're not what you do one-off.
Yeah, consistency is such a good point there, and definitely with the trying to focus on one thing. I set loads of goals for this year, and Else was just like, these are all really high. She's like, you need to, like, you want to hit your goals and then maybe like extend them. You don't want to have them so far out of reach that, you know.
I quite like a stretch goal though.
Me too, but she's like, you'll be really frustrated if you don't hit any of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I quite like a stretch and realistic, and then you can hit your realistic and be happy.
I think her point was there's no realistic one.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we're about to have a child.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess everyone can put realistic ones in there. It might just be like, instead of getting a car into somewhere, changing it out for a walk, or swap a takeaway with cooking something more elaborate, or whatever it is. But
yeah, do you know what's good is delivery is so bad at the moment that it's forcing us to cook more. But I'm actually really grateful for that.
It can be quicker than waiting for delivery, can't it?
Yeah. Oh god, it's 2 hour wait for Nando's the night. I was disgusted on that.
When you want a Nando's, you want it then.
No, exactly. So my hunger was growing too much.
And then you get that hour of hangry arguments.
Yeah, just needed to arrive. Yeah. No, I think this is, this has been a really good chat. I think for me, it's just make sure you prioritize those side projects. Make sure you prioritize those things that give you like satisfaction, even if they feel like they're pointless, because they're absolutely not pointless.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Cool. Last one.
Thanks very much, Josh. Thanks for listening to us talk about the beauty of side projects. Hit subscribe and we'll see you at the next one.